right, so let's talk about the MLE examinations quickly. So as you know, due to the current pandemic situation, we will have to not discuss about the CK because this exam has been temporarily suspended. So we are not sure how the future version will look about. But when we talk about the step one or CK or the examination, typically step one is your first 2 years of MBBS portion. So people prepare in first and second year, appear in third year. CK is your final year portion, which people appear in internship year, right? Typically, both these exams are online. Step one being 8 hours, step two being 9 hours. Exam fee $1,100, $1,100. You can appear very much in India. When does this exam conducted? Every day throughout the year, Monday to Friday. Okay. On a normal scenario, COVID, of course, everything is shut, so are the USMLE centers. But typically, what is the exam format? So this exam typically is a block by block exam. What do I mean by a block? In a block of 1 hour, I will have 40 questions in step one and 38 questions in CK. So typically, I appear question number 1, question number 38, question number 2, question number 23. I can flip around, but once my 1 hour gets over, I cannot come back to this block of 40 questions. That's what it means by by block questions. Those who want to see how actually the format of exams work, you are free to get the Moksh learning system, where we provide you a free mock USMLE style mock test and also the entire learning experience. Okay, I will share the link at the end of the session where you can register. Same is with step 2 CK, but it's a little longer. It's a 1 hour long exam. So you can see 7 blocks, 8 hours, 8 blocks, 9 hours. So what is this extra 1 hour for? Now that extra 1 hour is a break time, which you can take after every block, maybe 5 minutes, or after 2 blocks, 10 minutes, your choice. Total break time is 1 hour. So you can see in the history of examination, these are one of the longest examination. So you require a lot of stamina and efforts to ensure that you are very much active and mentally present for the entire 8 hours. These questions are very much keeping in mind as if you are in your clinic and you are attending patients. And can you believe how many patients are you going to see? In typically step one exam, there are 240 questions. So it is like a busy clinic day where you are meeting 240 patients. In step 2 CK, almost 318. Can you believe it? So it's very important that you kind of plan things well. Let us understand the current scoring system. Unlike Indian exam, if you attempt the exam, it is not like one right answer gives you 1 point. It's a scale between 140 till 280, in which passing is 194. But a good score is 240. That is our target, which corresponds to around 80 to 85% of correct answer. Passing is around 60 to 65% of correct answers. Now the only challenge is anybody who appears the exam and just passes, the scores are locked for 7 years. You cannot improve it. So it is very important that you plan well, because you have only one attempt to get your desired score. Okay, if somebody fails, first of all, these are very expensive exam to fail, and they have 3 more attempts to pass. Okay. Now in the month of February, one announcements have come, series of announcement. One announcement was that the step 1 exam, the scoring system will become pass and fail from 2022 onwards. Okay, but those who are going to appear this year or next year, you still have the scoring system. So you need to kind of prepare accordingly only. It's very important to score a 240 marks. Okay, there is no change in the scoring system for CK, so you still have to hit 240, and in step 3 also you need to hit 240. Okay, so nothing changes for scoring system of step 2 CK and step 3. Only step 1 becomes pass and a fail. Total marks in step 1, it's a range, so maximum you can hit is up to 280. Yeah, and there is no negative marking. Okay, which is better, pass or fail or score? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Can you also add on improving CV? Sarah, it will come. Slowly, we will be discussing each and everything. Okay. Anybody has a question on the steps? Please let me know. Otherwise, I will move ahead and explain other things. Abdul, I'll answer your question. What if I write my step 1 in 2021? Will it change to pass and fail when I enter 2022? If you write in 2021, you will have a score attached in your score sheet. That's the only thing. So in 20, when you apply for your admission, that time they will show the score. That's it. Okay. And usually people prefer to give in the current format because things are very much clear and aware. People are just anticipating, there is no confirmation as such, that once the exam becomes pass and a fail, the passing scores might increase. So which means the exam will become a little difficult. So, and second thing, the pass rates will change. Currently, if you see 80% of people pass step 1 exam, this might change after the exam becomes uh, pass and fail from 2022. That's just a anticipation. There's no formal guidelines as such. But why do we say you focus on your 240s on all your USMLE? Because it's very important that you take things seriously. It's a career exam. Let me tell you who appears USMLE. It's not just students. Being a first year, second year, the best time to appear. But we have people at the age of 44, 52, having setups in India. They shut down their setup and with the family they have to shift. Even at that age, they have to give USMLE, all right? So it is not that you have to appear. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's a career decision. It's something which is not just about a PG exam. So your decision making should not be, okay, let me try, if it doesn't work I will move ahead. No, planning has to be done. Anybody hitting less than 215 usually does not get a PG seat. The chances are very less. Okay, anything between 220 to 240 you will get family medicine, psychiatry, neurology, pediatrics, this specialization. 240 plus anesthesiology, emergency medicine, pathology, general surgery. 245 plus radiology, ophthalmology, orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery. So that's how the benchmarking is done. That's why if you hit 240, on an average, you are eligible for more or less all the specializations. So please plan things accordingly, all right? Now let's talk about the residency application timeline. Again, this is a very important factor for all of us to understand, okay? All right, so quickly let me let you know how does the planning work. So typically people spend 5 to 6 years parallel to their medical school to prepare and appear for step 1, CK, and during internship years, CS and clinical rotation and internship year. And once they are graduate and ECFMG certified, they apply for the match. The CV building process usually happens in parallel. Okay. Now, those who decide of preparing for USMLE after graduation spend 1 extra year only for step 1 preparation, 1 extra year for CK, CS, and all those things. So you're kind of wasting 2 extra years. Okay, that's why it is advisable to do parallel. Now, once you do that, every year the admission cycle starts in September. So online you apply to as many hospitals as you want, but select a particular specialization. You have to be very clear which specialization you want to apply. Usually people apply between 100 to 250 hospitals depending on their interest. Once they apply, physically you have to go for your interviews in the US. This happens between November to January. So in this process, there are 2 trips to US before you get selected. First for your CS and rotation, second is for interview. So typically on a normal scenario, you require a B1, B2 tourist visa, which all of you need to be applied as soon as possible. And this is the only visa you need to be worried about. Okay. Once you give your interview, you will have some preference order in mind that, maybe you want hospital in New York as the first option, second option is California. So your preference order you need to submit to this body called as NRMP. Every university interviews around 100 to 200 candidates. So even they submit their preference to the same body, NRMP. and the results are announced by them in the month of March. That's why it is called as matching. You like a program likes you. That's when you match, right? It's a complex online algorithm, and from July onwards, your PG starts. This is a typical scenario. You start on a J1 or a H1B visa, all right? Usually, the rejection rate for these visa is less than 0.5%. Can you believe it? Yeah, that less. Now, important thing you need to keep in mind: COVID happened. So, what are the updates of this year's? First of all, what is the update of last year's admission? So every year, as I told you, July में program start होता है. So did the program start this year in July? Absolutely. There were special flights provided. The visas were processed very fast. Between 2 to 4 weeks, all the visas were processed. People reached US in 1st of June. They completed their mandatory quarantine period, and 1st of July they started their program. Even in COVID times, what does that tell of the system? Yes, they require US requires Indian physicians very much. Secondly, the most important thing which we need to also understand is the fact that this is a very eye opener. COVID is a very eye opener. So what has happened in terms of changes? So this year the admission has been a little push for 2020. They have pushed the admission to October, and the interviews they are doing it online for this year. But the overall cycle for admission, the next year batch has to start on 2021. This is something they are very clear. Okay. So as you see the timeline, you'll also realize that after graduation and application, you are still spending 1 year. And that is normal. As I told you, USMLE requires patience and it's a career decision. So planning has to be much in advance. So any questions here on this thing? Okay. J1 visa, yes, after getting into PG. J1 and H1B, these are work visa, which you get after you get into PG. Minimum time gap between every step. Usually, people take, if I don't know which year of your med school you are in, but typically people take around 1 year for step one, and then they give your CK another 6-7 months. Okay. It's not like India, to morning you appear step one and evening you appear step two CK. These are very serious examinations. I would advise before even thinking whether how easy they are, give your USMLE mock test so you realize the quality of questions. Any preference? I would say whichever you get is better. Okay, because J1 ensures you have more fellowships. H1B ensures your immigration chances increases. Are you getting it? All right. So why do you think the process looks complicated? The exam is difficult. Still, people are dreaming about US. Trump is throwing every day a new statement. Why are still people preparing for USMLE? Because there is a huge physician shortage in America. The entire math is different and opposite of what is there in India. In the US, they have more PG seats and increasing year on year compared to their MBBS seats. So PG seats are more, MBBS seats are less. In India, what is happening? Yes, PG seats are 30,000, but MBBS seats are almost 70,000. Plus people who did not get admission last year, they apply. People who didn't get admission last year, they apply. Plus people who are eternal optimists trying in last 3 years, they apply. So every year about 1.5 lakh students apply. And for open category and clinical seats in government, there are only 15,000 seats, which is why I say for every 10 students in India, only one is getting a government clinical seat. This is a very simple math. This should let you know why probability is higher or more in US. Of course, the compensation is also very high in terms of your salaries. Okay, the minimum salary is about 1.5 crores for pediatrician, family medicine, internal medicine, infectious, neuro. As you move higher, let's say if you choose OBGY, pathology, nephrology, around 2 crores, surgery 2 crores. The top ones are plastic surgery, orthopedics, cardio, gastro, and radio, where the salaries are very high, 3 to 4 crores per annum. So usually you can say around 2.5% of physicians only come back to India. Rest all of them settle in the US. Okay? Usually people who come back maybe because of family plans or some commitment or some project in India. Otherwise, usually they don't come back. All right. So typically, what are the factors for selection in PG? So first of all, you need to keep in mind your USMLE scores. You need to hit your step 1 plus CK 240 plus, step 2 CS pass in first attempt. Typically, of course, temporary right now it's on hold, but all of these exam you need to pass in first attempt. That's very important. You require a US clinical experience and letter of recommendation. Important. Medical school performance evaluation. Your college performance is also important. People who interact with me and start their journey with me, many a time they ask me, sir, if I am preparing for USMLE, can I just pass in my med school? No, you need to give your complete justice to your med school as well, simply because what are your marks in NAT, class average, class highest matters. Let me tell you why. So 2 years ago, I had a student from Hyderabad. Okay, she got around 23 interviews. It's almost very high number. 12 for radiology, 11 for medicine. Now, one of the factor which was very striking in her profile and became a talking point in her residency discussion was that she was a pathology topper in her med school. Can you believe it? Pathology is a basic medical science subject, but it mattered to them in the interview. So all I'm trying to tell you is it's an overall profile. So of course, not everybody will have everything positive, but it's all about how you're balancing things. Next is specialty focus work. So if I like pediatrics, I need to prove that. So I will work with pediatric department of my college or anywhere in my city or in India, anywhere. I'll participate in virtual conferences. So when I like pediatrics, any sessions happening on neonatology or pediatric cardiology, anything which proves that I have a strong desire or passion for that specialization, I'll have to participate. Volunteer work which I do with my PSM department, community medicine department, or I become part of these associations where they kind of do outreach activities with association, this NGOs. So that kind of thing, very much appreciated. Extracurricular activities, again, very important. Research plays an important role. And finally, languages. In fact, on the Moksha platform, all the students are taught Spanish language because that's kind of an important criteria. And finally, of course, you need to do well in your interviews as well. So these are some criterias which are very important and which you need to kind of plan things around. Okay. At Moksha, we actually help you because once you are part of our program, step by step preparation happens, in the journey. So we systematically train you. There are 15,000 plus students preparing for USMLE in India, but last year only 1,094 were ECFMG certified. So you wonder why 14,000 students gave up on their dream. It's also a very important question. Okay? So I sometimes believe Indian students are penny wise, pound foolish. USMLE is more of a career decision. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Unfortunately, many waste depending on some WhatsApp content. I have no problem with WhatsApp content, but only challenge is the probability of success is as good as the WhatsApp group. 1 in 256 are actually succeeding. So that is one biggest challenge. People don't understand the gravity or seriousness of making a career like the US. Some unfortunately based in Pune and Hyderabad are influenced by these review courses. These are fast paced, 4 to 6 months, only one company content, no memory tool. If you ask them for live lectures, they will ask for more money. What support? Only login ID, password. After that, no support. Pune person says, I am original. Hyderabad person says, I am original. Students don't know who is original. And there is what about originality? I'm a little surprised. They keep on telling in their session 2020 book is new. 2019 one chapter was missing. I mean, which means that last year you didn't give the complete book to the student. But yeah, that's how they unfortunately talk about books. So very sad. But yeah, people get fooled. In fact, many of them are asked to join their program in America and increase the budget by 50 lakhs. In this money, people can do an MPH degree. But people don't realize that. The difference in our program is actually this program was designed by our Caribbean med school partner. In Caribbean, every student has to give USMLE. So it's a very systematic program parallel to med school. We have a real-time support for 5 years for CV, for registration process. We have a complete team which pushes. Unfortunately, these 14,000 students won't have not succeeded if there was somebody to at least guide them, motivate them, and keep them pushing. Yes, it is possible. That kind of support is what we kind of provide in our program. And more importantly, we are very clear. It's a very modular approach. In fact, those who study outside India, they start our program very early. Immediately after their NEET exam, they do the pre-med program with us. Once they complete their first year, they do the advanced clinical science, which includes step 1 and CK. None of our program have validity. We train you unlimited. That's the biggest feature or advantage of the MOOCs program. It's unlimited. There is complete support in the CV, test taking workshop, doubt solving, guest speaker. So point is that we are going to support you right up till the admissions.